Hi everyone, this is Kelly Beard of KarmicTools.com, and this is your weekly forecast for July 7th to the 13th of 2019. And last week we had no activations, but we had the new moon solar eclipse, which we're still basking in the glow of. This week kicks off with the Mercury Retrograde in Leo. Now, I'm just going to throw out here right now because I've been talking about Mercury Retrograde in Cancer, mostly because it goes backwards for Leo and spends more time in Cancer than Leo. So I apologize if I misled you earlier in the week. But it is going to go backwards in Leo and forwards in Cancer. So this is asking us to review our creative projects and reconnect with the heart. This is a chance to rewire your magnetics in a way that is deeply supported by it spending more time reviewing late Cancer. We are being asked to release childhood traumas and dramas, stop letting them color the present, and start taking responsibility for our words, thoughts, and deeds. This energy reminds us we cannot be superficial with no substance, beauty with no heart, love with no trust. It just doesn't work that way. This is also one of the 3 times of the year that we get to give our mental body a much-needed break. Yes, mechanical breakdowns and miscommunications abound, but conversing with your soul self, communing with your invisible team, angels, ancestors, and animal spirit guides, and more right brain activities are much more supported and often magical with Mercury retrograde. This feeds into all the solstice eclipse advice I've already given to dedicate some time to self-care. The initial stop in Leo tells us that the heart is involved, and if it doesn't feel right, it is best to hold off until it does. Obviously, you cannot stop the world for any retrograde, so the caveat with this one is to check, recheck, triple check the details and the bottom lines. Thoroughly read through any contracts, and don't be shy about asking folks to clarify if you are still not clear. Usually the attention to detail and following your own instincts and intuition, which is also better supported at this time, but that attention to detail will help you catch any mistakes before it's too late to correct them. That said, retrogrades, especially Mercury, are actually great for finishing projects, not necessarily starting them, and fixing or finally addressing something that has been on the back burner. Finally, it is also recommended to take as many personal time outs for some me time as you possibly can throughout the summer of 2019, because the summer of 2020 is going to be something else entirely. Whew, deep breath. Then on the 8th, so we have Mercury retrograde on the 7th and Chiron retrogrades on the 8th. Last year, Chiron took its last dip into Pisces for 50 years. So for those of you born 1960 to 68, you have now completed a very deep healing process, while those of us born 1968 to 77 are being initiated. This retrograde is his first full retrograde in Aries, and so we have all been put on notice, especially those with this placement, Chiron in Aries. We can all consciously honor the healing, education, and personal transformation that Chiron facilitates. Pisces taught us about the sensitivity and boundary issues, being a spirit in human form. Now in Aries, we are opening up to the new directive of self-healing, self-assembling, and self-mastery going forward. Chiron is best known as the wounded healer, the aspect of the self that came in with a wound to address this lifetime, and in your chart, it represents your healing and educational path. It is all that you learn on the journey to wholeness and integration, and the healing and education that results from that journey. This 5-month period is going to reveal where you're at in your own process. This time is deeply supported for a personal inventory or inner review. You have to be willing to face the fears and hurts, accept the losses and defeats, and then get up, dust yourself off, and try again. Chiron can help guide this process. It's time to be brave and pioneering. Clearly the old ways no longer work. It's time to follow our instincts, though first we may have to connect to them properly. It's time to face challenges head on and remember that though we have to do for self, be self-sufficient and self-contained, we do not have to do it alone. So this time is really going to support the evolution of the individual within the context of the community or their relationships. It's all connected. If the self evolves, then the relationships evolve. You know, if one evolves, the other has to evolve too, or it will dissolve and go away. That's just the natural order. So, for our first official activation, also on the 8th, which is that Monday. Monday is a very busy day energetically. Monday, July 8th. Venus sextile Uranus. This energy, thanks to Uranus, activates a certain spark of electricity in the air. New relationships will have an unusual aspect to them, and old ones can break to realign in a positive, even fun way with this energy. No monotonous routine, humdrum people, or boring collaborations with this one. Use it to access your own unique genius and deep well of creativity, and then share, if you can, with other like-hearted souls. Take advantage of this energy to tap into areas you may not have realized were available to you before now. Keep it light and upbeat. Socialize and enjoy the experience of different people or new activities, meaning try something new, get out of your comfort zone. Keep in mind, however, any relationships begun this week may not be based on qualities needed for long-term survival. It's more of a time to enjoy the people and experiences that pass through and accept it as a gift. Also on the 8th, Mercury Retrograde is going to conjunct Mars. Now, usually, if it hits it that way, it's hit it 3 times, but it doesn't happen in this case. So this is just a really interesting backstage council where while Mercury's back there, it's talking to Mars about initiating something new. So, I have to preface this with 2 things. One is when Mercury's involved, it is a relatively fast-moving energy. And 2 is when Mars is involved, being the lower version of power, Pluto being the higher version, it reminds us that with power also comes responsibility. Now, all that said, the positive expression of this energy is that you can control your mind and direct it with passion, getting tangible results. This heightens your intellectual ability and mental capacity for better or worse. You will be able to clearly articulate your thoughts, and you should have quick, effective responses. If you maintain your integrity, this is an excellent time to fuel major creative expression. If this energy manifests its negative side, it can make you petty and combative, arguing over nonsense and wasting precious time and energy in ego control dramas. And if it is not coming from you, it is just as possible to be coming at you from others. This is the best time to put your energy, which is Mars's domain, behind your thoughts, ideas, and words, which is Mercury, and get creative. Get creative. The power of this pairing is that they are occupying the same space, essentially energizing each other and initiating a new 2-year cycle. So, deep breath. Look at this as a chance to review who you are and what you want, and really who you think you are, and what you think you're expressing and telling the universe about what you desire and what you want to choose. This is a choice point. But I think that with Mercury retrograde, you know how it says you could be very articulate and quick, effective responses. That may not be true with the Mercury backwards. So I think that's going to come down to the signs. So it's Mercury retrograde in Leo conjuncting Mars in Leo. So that means we're back to the heart and the head and heart communication that has to happen for us to manifest, create, attract, connect with our desires, our passion, what we're here to accomplish in a certain sense. So this is an interesting one, you all, and probably relatively rare. So let's take advantage this week of really clarifying the new identity and the new desires or the new direction you're trying to go in. Then on the 9th, which is Tuesday, Sun is going to oppose Saturn. So this is another personal one that's connecting with a social planet that's helping you anchor a bigger cycle. It's helping you make certain things real, which is why the review and clarifying and really taking some time out is so vitally important for you to be clear about. But this is an annual process. I mean, the Sun links up and initiates once a year with Saturn, and it has its opposition once a year with Saturn. So this is the opposition, and it is an annual process of development. The Sun makes it personal and about you, the individual. Saturn helps move your timeline along and build the literal aspects of life, the basics of providing for yourself, food, shelter, etc., and your own personal limitations. What renewed aspect of self got activated about 6 months ago And how do you want that to fully develop over the next 6 months? This is a potent midpoint, the most powerful course-correcting time in any cycle. This one being an annual meeting between the Sun and Saturn, a checkpoint between you and your responsibilities. Each year you evolve, some years more consciously than others, so this is a good time to check in with your own personal definitions of what you are or are no longer responsible for. Often this energy activates a push-pull between who you are and who you want to be, just like Mercury and who you think you are versus who your choices and actions tell the universe you are. We need to be congruent, and it's a process. So it creates that push-pull between who you are and who you want to be, between what you want to do and what you have to do. My age-old advice is to do what you got to do so you can do what you want to do, especially when Saturn's involved. And while it may not be the easiest path, it's usually worth it for the peace of mind that it brings. You may swing between extremes of fulfilling all your obligations to the neglect of your own truth and purpose, or neglecting your obligations and doing whatever you choose, which only means those obligations will be there when you get to them, and they will have most likely increased by the time you do. So balance is the key. Practice, there is no perfection, and it's time to practice handling business before pleasure. So this is, again, a really powerful one to co-create with. Saturn's not a bad one. It just wants us to make the responsible choices and to build things step by step and stabilize things before we try to expand. And this is the personal one with the Sun. That's you, the individual, getting a little dose of stability if you can integrate it. On the 10th, which is Wednesday, Sun is going to trine Neptune. So this energy triggers your idealistic, altruistic inclinations, but remember that help has to be invited. So if you have the energy to share and to spare, then dedicate yourself to something greater than you. Choose a cause to support or help those less fortunate for the sheer pleasure of giving. If your energy is low at this time, it may be better directed inward. If you can, take some extra time in intentional solitude, praying, meditating, and connecting to spirit this week. You will be rewarded with deep revelations and mystical discoveries within you. It's a great time to do divinations, ritual, or ceremony if you're into that. Your intuition is heightened also, so pay attention to any messages that come through or to you. Try to use this energy to reflect on where you are and dream a little bit about where you want to be, mentally, spiritually, and physically, in 6 months to a year from now. So again, this annual connection, the Sun has its annual rhythm where it kind of touches base with everybody. A trine is blessings without effort, or it's rewards for past efforts often, but it's ease and grace. And with this, Neptune is the spirituality planet, so that helps us tune into our spirit. And again, Sun, the individual. So this is very, very personal. And our last one on the 11th, which is Thursday. This is the rebel energy, but what's your cause? If you are clear about your own authentic truth and purpose, then this energy is refreshing and uplifting. If you acknowledge that change is necessary and inevitable, and you co-create with this energy to transform your current life. This is a rebirth energy too, and being reborn is never easy. Worth it, but not easy. However, if you are not clear about who you are and what you're capable of, this energy shines a light on that aspect of your life which you instinctively already know needs an overhaul, but for whatever reason you are still holding on to old habits and patterns. Unwilling or unable to embrace change at this time, you only increase the feeling of being restricted by external energies. Your life is a direct reflection of what's going on inside you. How's it looking? Check your ego, recommit to your truth, and remember that change is good. And if you don't go voluntarily, read consciously, then you'll get dragged to the next level, kicking and screaming, and you'll be so exhausted when you get there that you may miss the beauty in evolving to that next level. This is what you've been working toward, correct? So remember, conscious, effective action creates freedom. Uranus is the freedom and liberation planet. Mars is our actions and choices. And when they square off, it's who we are and what we want. squaring off with this freedom aspect, like wanting to be free, feeling constricted in a certain way, but being challenged to grow in who we are, to be more authentic. It's really pushing us to clarify who we are and what we want on a deeper level. And so this whole week is really juicy with the Mercury retrograde. We're definitely still in the eclipse vortex, so reach out if you want to touch base on your cycles and find out what's going on there for you, and get a reading perhaps. The solstice readings are good until fall equinox, or at least until the Leo Gate of Power, which is the first week of August, when we have another reading that is good at that time. So reach out if you need to, and thanks again for listening. This is Kelly M. Beard of KarmicTools.com, and I'm so grateful for your time, energy, and support. Please share this with those you think would resonate, and reach out if and when you need to. Kelly at KarmicTools.com, or you can reach me through my contact page on the website. The goal of my weekly forecast is to alert you to the energies and activations that we're all experiencing, and the possibilities for conscious co-creation as an individual. Awareness of the energies is the first key, but I invite you to take it to the next level by checking out my readings, telecircles, or subscriptions, which are all geared toward individual support that helps you understand your own unique blueprint. My specialty is cycles and patterns, and I love helping people figure out their own within the context of the social and collective rhythm. To some, working with their own cycles and patterns is a completely new and foreign concept, but there are many planetary cycles that coincide with natural life cycles that allow us to co-create in mystical as well as practical ways. I create custom tools that I have tried and tested myself for over 30 years, and I do the work alongside my circle every time. So I hope you will reach out if you feel called to dive deeper into your own soul's natural rhythm. Talk to you soon. One love.